yeah, I mean, my face is kind of like sore from grinning. It's too strange. Like every day there's just another weird thing that's kind of come out, and some weird offer for M3GAN to be front in some ad campaign. And it's just like, it's mental. It's just bizarre.
What is the weirdest thing that's happened?
Oh God, I should have an answer prepared for this.
No.
I just think the weirdest thing is that like the majority of people really like it, because when you make something, you put it out there for everyone to either love or hate, and that's okay. That's the business. But for the overwhelming majority of people to really be digging it, it never happens. And so I'm on a cloud. Yeah.
I bet when you get, and I'm sorry, but I want a longer cut of that sensational dance. And I don't want to minimalise that as the success of the film necessarily, but my God, it's compelling to watch, especially what comes after it. And we'll have a bigger conversation around M3GAN, the doll itself, in a minute. But when you take something like that, which is similar in some ways to a Wednesday dance, where the whole of the TikTok world just goes, oh yeah, you can't predict something like that.
No, totally. It was just a really mental thing that kind of made me chuckle like one night, and hopefully I could sneak it into the movie and no one will say, you can't do this is too strange. But to my surprise, like everyone embraced it. I mean, Universal were the biggest fans. They were like, this is great, we need more of this. They blasted it all throughout the trailer, and I was like, what are you doing? It's supposed to be a tease. But no, everyone's really embraced that, and I think we just need a little bit more mental at the movies, and so I'm happy to bring that.
Well, I'm happy that you have, and it is a special kind of mental, isn't it? Your mental.
It is, and it comes all the way from here in New Zealand. I have to say, from down the road at Drury, Amy Donald, and her dance teacher Kylie Norris. I have to just hand it to them. That's all them. Those crazy moves. I don't know where that came from, but I'm very grateful.
As are we all. Sitting in a cinema last night of Kiwis, including some cast and crew, I mean, I fully underestimated how fully Kiwi it is. You know, from Arlo Green and Chelsea right at the beginning to, it's a New Zealand film.
Yeah, I was like bowled away by just how much talent there is. And I just keep getting reminded of that. Like, even though, like, for so many people, just acting is a part-time job, like, it blows me away how good the actors are here, and the crew as well. Like, we've got the best crews in the world, and the producers that are coming here to make movies always say that. It's like, these crews are unlike anything else. I mean, even Amy, like, I didn't think we'd find a 10-year-old that could act, dance, do martial arts and gymnastics, and run on all fours. I was like, good luck, we're gonna have to bring someone in. And Miranda Rivers, my casting director, found her straight away. So I'm just constantly reminded of just how much amazing talent there is here.
When this idea formed, and then you got to start shooting this, you said last night introducing the film that it was an incredibly challenging shoot. Why?
Well, for so many reasons. I mean, I'm dealing with a puppet, children, and it's not that kids are difficult to deal with. They were amazing. It's the hours. Yeah. You only get so many hours with them, and then on top of that, we had animals. And
you were told,
yes,
don't work with children and animals.
I know, and it was a 30-day shoot, which is impossible. And I had no frame of reference. Like, I'm so embarrassed to say this, but everything I've ever done, from Housebound to the Jackie Brown Diaries, we shot it till we got it. Like, there was a schedule, but it's like, the schedule's the schedule. We're not going to fit all this in. But, so we would come back on weekends and just pull all the favors we could just to get it finished. And so I was quickly made aware that was not going to be a possibility on this movie. But it's funny because they liked it so much, they kind of did let me come back on the weekends and do little pickups. So it felt weirdly like a bigger version of like a 48-hour film, which is really lovely. Yeah.
So this relationship with Blumhouse, amazing. How did it come about?
Well, one of the guys that is one of the execs there now was a critic at South by Southwest where Housebound debuted, and he really loved it. And so we just kind of stayed in touch, and he ended up producing, being a development guy at Blumhouse, and he was always sending me scripts and what do you think of this? And I was like, it's too bleak and this and that. And then this came along, I was like, this really speaks to me as a parent. Like, I'm dealing with the anxiety of like devices in schools, and it's like, oh my God, this is so frustrating, and I feel so limited in what I can say about it. I don't have a voice. No one's inviting me to these PTA meetings. So
They're not going to invite you now.
No, they won't. So I got to make a movie about it and get that conversation going, which is just
same as you. I have a 10-year-old, and all of the subtext, not even subtext. I mean, as a parent, talking about that, and also just how phenomenal it was when you see that addiction to a thing, a doll, a device, and what it turns your kid into. For me, that was also almost more horrific than Megan herself.
Yeah, because as a parent, it strikes people differently, who watch it depending on what their experience with technology is. But I know that every parent who's had to deal with like trying to wean their kid off a device, that scene really gets to them. It's really hard, and I'm not trying to be preachy about it. Like, you've seen the trailer, by no means is this a preachy film, but it is nice to kind of shoehorn some important messages in there.
100%. Can we talk about the manifestation of the physical representation of Megan and where that inspiration came from?
Well, we've had killer dolls in movies before. We've had Chucky. They're always very kind of goofy and camp, and it was just like we just couldn't do anything that had already been done. And I just thought that when you look at these dolls, the creepier ones are always the ones that look really real. Like, that looks like a real kid. I don't know what I'm looking at. So it was just this exciting idea of how far could we push this? And the people that designed the doll actually deal in realistic prosthetics. So I was like, well, why don't we just make it look as real as we can? And they're like, oh, really? Like, they hadn't thought of that. It's like, yeah, you guys do this all the time. And maybe that's why they hadn't thought about doing it. They thought, oh, great, we get to make a doll. And I was like, no, make her look as real as possible. That'll be really freaky. And then slowly everyone got on board with that idea. It's like, oh, yeah, that would be really freaky, because she doesn't have all the micro expressions that a human being has. She's really limited. But she has this death stare that just says it all. So
and it goes from warmth to death. So are we talking how much is puppetry and how much is...
It's kind of 50-50. It's like 50% the animatronic, but we didn't have the budget to build a walking, talking robot, obviously. Hence, we needed the talents of Amy Donald, who trained to walk like a robot with Jed Brophy and Luke Hawker, here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We've got the best talent in the world. So they taught her how to do it. And we also had some amazing VFX guys here, based here in Auckland, that would make her face talk when it needed to, because there's no animatronics in her mask.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick conversation around the ratings. When you were told, given a script, shot the film, were you making an R-rated film, or were you making
I was making an R-rated film, but I did say to the producers a couple of times, it's like, with a couple of cuts, this could be PG-13. Is that something we should entertain? And they were like, Gerard, like, we're making a horror movie, okay? And R rating is a badge of honor. I was like, okay, you guys know what you're doing. And then cut to a year later when, this thing is testing and doing really well, Universal, I thought I was turning up Monday morning to just polish the film and that would be that. But they were like, yeah, so Universal wants to do a PG-13 cut. And I was initially devastated just because the release, the window for release was in place, but it actually gave me an opportunity. I used it as an excuse to shoot more things that made the movie better. So it was like, it all worked out perfect. I was happy to make it PG-13. I think it's great. Like 70% of the audience is aged between 13 and 30. So clearly it was the right decision. Yeah.
Absolutely. We love the film. It's out and everyone hates it. And you go, oh, well, we're really looking forward to the sequel, but it's fair enough that it's an open-ended without wanting to give too much away. So where are we in this conversation?
We're at the beginning of it, but the movie's obviously doing really well. It's really fun to read reviews that actually talk about it as a franchise. Like, it's already a foregone conclusion that there's going to be another one. So it's almost like the people have spoken, and I think we have to deliver on that. And there was a lot of what's exciting about it for me is there was so many ideas that I wanted to do in this first movie that I couldn't, and this is really going to give me the opportunity to do all that. And there's so much more we can do, and I know Megan has a lot more to say. So
she has a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Oh God! Could you introduce perhaps another killer doll and call it Harry? Because
That's
I've
a great
watched
idea.
that.
Yeah, Harry it maybe, but yeah.
But not Harry and Meghan.
Yeah. It's a good idea. I'll pass that one along.
Oh, you're so welcome. So from a let's call you a growing talent when it comes to Hollywood. We know you we know your talent.
I feel like I'm an aging talent at this stage, but thank you.
As a parent, we feel that every day, don't we? But this is pretty extraordinary when it comes to an opportunity for you to continue as with your voice, but as a filmmaker, as a storyteller.
Yeah, totally. I mean, whenever you're making one of these, it's so hard and you learn so much, and it's a real shame when you think, oh God, this might turn out to be a turd, and I won't get to make another one, which is a shame because I've learned so much, and I think I could really.
Kiwi attitude.
I could. Well, no, it's because you feel like you're lucky to be doing this in the first place, and you feel like the biggest fraud on set. I'm the least experienced person on a movie set. I'll just get that out there. It's like I do this, every 3 years if I'm lucky, and these talented men and women are doing this all the time. So I'm almost like, oh, what's that guy doing? How does any of this work? So no, I just the chance to do another one, just make another movie and sit in a room with people, it's the best.
All right, well, let's ask you what the thing is that was your biggest takeaway. What did you learn about your craft and your storytelling that you'll take into the next film, whether it be a M3GAN or something else?
I think it's like, even though like the making of a film is really hard, like most of the work is really done in the preparation, and you have to really fight to get what you want. You have to fight for the look of certain things, or the costume, or this or that. And I think as long as you kind of win those battles, everything else along the way should take care of itself. But you know what? Here's a better answer. Try to have fun. Like, because it is so challenging, and people forget how lucky we are to be making movies. So I really like to work with a crew of people that are, meeting challenges with a smile and a joke, and that was the best thing about working with this Kiwi crew, especially when we came back for reshoots. It's like it was just it was joyous, and that's what making movies should be. I would like to thank everyone in New Zealand that worked on the movie. That I mean, I would like to thank the cast and crew for just giving it their all, and just being so passionate about it, and making me feel like I wasn't the only one making this movie. Like I had such an amazing team of people around me. So yeah, I just want to thank them, and I also just hope that New Zealanders will get a kick out of it, because as you say, this is a very New Zealand movie. I mean, 90% of the cast are Kiwis, and so it was and 95% of it was shot here. So I hope that New Zealanders can take a bit of pride in that.